Little update on my M3 here. Decided to, well, haven't really talked about this project at all. Anyway, M3 is getting a lS3 swap. So while the engine's out, decided to paint the bay. Had some rust on this strut tower that a friend of mine welded in some plates, and then had another buddy come up here and body work it, and it looks really good, honestly. Looks way better than the rusty hole that was there, and now there's no more rust, so that's good. Just prepped the whole bay tonight, got it in primer, shot some base coat and some clear on it, and it's looking pretty good, pretty factory again. This corner I taped off because there's going to be you have the brake booster and everything, and the steering shaft, and there's going to be a header right there, so you won't be able to see any of that. And then right here is a fuse box, so I figured if I just tape it off like this, you won't really be able to tell there's factory paint under there unless you're like really looking down in there. I also left the factory sound ending against the firewall just right there, so that'll still be black. Yeah, so that'll be pretty nice when it's all done. Yeah, I had this little plate welded in too. There was some rust down there. These cars get super rusty, so yeah, required some work before we could paint, but anyway, got it in paint. It's looking good. Funny thing is about these cars, it looks like there's streaks in the paint right here, but it's actually the factory like waviness in the strut towers. Usually you can see them like all along here, but this strut tower has been body worked and hammered and stuff, so it's nice and smooth. But this one you can really see it. Like those aren't runs or anything. That is just factory metal work on E36. Pretty bad. Anyway, I'll talk about this thing for a little bit. So this is a lS3. I believe it lived a previous life in a Trans Am TA2 series race car. It was just sitting on a shelf at Katech, I believe. So they rebuilt it for me, and now we're putting it in my M3. Should be pretty fun. Should sound awesome, and it should be a fairly easy swap with the parts that I've been purchasing, such as this PMC adapter kit here. It's pretty cool. Makes it so that we can attach the BMW ZF 5-speed transmission that came stock in my 95 M3. Makes it so that we can attach that to the lS3 using their plates here. So basically you have this one that just bolts to the LS. This bolts to the ZF. And that makes it so that you can make the two together. Now in the inside of here, I wish I filmed the video. I have pictures of it, but I doubt I'll put it in the video. There's basically an adapter flywheel in there, which I guess you kind of have to be familiar with flywheels for me to explain this, but basically it spaces the friction disc surface off of the crank hub about like an inch or two, maybe. I could be wrong, but anyway, it spaces it away from the engine a certain distance so that a factory ZF clutch still works. And in doing that, you have to run a factory automatic LS flex plate so that you can still have a working starter, because the PMC flywheel does not come with like a ring gear on it for the starter to engage against. But anyway, that was kind of a mouthful, but you get the point. ZF 5-speed out of this car, attached to this Katech lS3 here. Should be pretty fun. This setup allows me to keep the stock transmission mount, stock drive shaft, and yeah, that's about it. So basically everything from clutch, or flywheel if you will, back is BMW, specifically this car. And everything from flywheel to the front of the engine is LS. So makes it pretty easy. I'm trying to make this as easy as I can on my friends and I. Let's see, what else do I have? So this right here, this is a mount made by, who's it made by? Pennsyltucky Performance. And I specifically went with this because they work with these CX Racing headers right here. These guys, I have another video on them. They specifically work with these headers, which are considerably less money than any other header on the market. So, yeah, this is trying to do this as cheaply as possible, but kind of with the best parts that I can within reason. I'm not spending $1,800 on headers. That's just, my money could have been better spent on something else, such as like a starter and alternator brackets and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, so we're gonna throw the engine in Saturday. Oh, that's right, I have a Holley Terminator X too, so that should make it really easy. I already went through all the harness and everything and connected it to the engine to make sure that I have a sensor for every connector on the harness, so that's good. I didn't want to run into any headaches there once we got the engine in the car, so we'll be good there. Yeah, that's about it. It's about it. It's super hazy in here. Probably losing brain cells talking here, breathing in all this spray paint, but you know, whatever. All right. Last coat of clear is on. And it's looking really good, honestly. I do say so myself. I think it looks better than OEM paint. At least when I got this thing with 130,000 miles on it. The paint, I guess I'd seen better days. I don't really know. I mean, but I'd say now it looks probably like factory. From the factory, it wasn't perfect. But it always had a little bit of a, not haze, but a little bit of a dull look to it. I believe it's because they do not put clear coat on the engine bays. But anyway, now it's got some shine to it. Not too much. It's a little dull, but it's better than it was. That's for sure. And it'll certainly look good with the LS in there, with the white valve covers and everything. So can't wait to get that thing in.